Welcome back to the Bumper Breakfast. Yes, we were talking with Jonathan just before we took that break, and my concern really is how business is run. I'm just one. You see, in my heart of heart, I threw this question to you because you're a businessman, yes. And I absolutely did not see you a businessman, allowing things to run like that in a refinery. What would you have done? Since we know that our refineries have been moribund for as long as we can remember, what would you have done?
Okay. As a businessman, if one finds out that the refineries are not functioning optimally, what one has to do is to find a way out of the woods by finding a solution to the ailing refineries, and to ensure that the refineries come back to life again. Where that is not possible, what one has to look into is other ways of reducing the costs of running business. Either we take the bull by the horn by building new refineries, so that we will put the refineries back to their normal fits. So
which, which would now bring me to building a new refinery. If we know that refineries are not working, or cannot work, Mr. Fasuke, you have been in that, whether it's downstream or upstream or whatever stream it is right now sector. The question is, are those refineries incapable of working?
Thank you very much, Tomi Singh.
And mind you, people, you may be wondering what we're talking about. We're talking about the downstream oil sector. And the question this morning is, the idle refineries gulp about 136 billion naira in worker salaries.
Again, my apologies earlier.
Yes.
Let me say here and now that there is so much misinformation, misunderstanding on how business run, even amongst our people. People are angry, people do not trust, which is one of the key planks, and people also lie to themselves. Authorities lie to us, we lie to them, and then we continue to march on the same spots. It would have been easy if the spot you are marching on is on farm ground. In the case of Nigeria, we are marching on marshland. What happens? You sink further. In the first place, there is a lot of economics that comes into operating business generally, including the refinery. What has happened basically is that Nigeria as an entity has refused to plant when we had rainfall in adequate quantity, when we had sunshine in adequate quantity, when we had men and material in adequate quantity yesterday.
So basically you're saying that like the proverbial story in the Bible of Joseph and Egypt and the Pharaoh, we had years of plenty.
When we had the capacity to plan, take right decisions, make right choices, we refused to do that. Yes, we deliberately refused to do that and went backwards. And if you are supposed to be making an acceleration forward and you went backward, wherever you find yourself, it's where you find yourself, failure. For me, the refineries are not working because of corruption. Everybody knows that. The refineries are not working because we have policy makers who are only interested, in prependal propensities. We have refineries that are not working because we saw them as national assets. So this is our own Tiwa, and just go in there, cut it to pieces, and take whatever it is that you need to take. And we didn't have the courage to have leaders to take very hard decisions. Hard decisions in terms of, in the first place, we have some of the refineries, it's one of the refineries that's located far north.
Kaduna.
On on what grounds will you want to do that? And so you decide that you're going to lay
But are you saying
pipelines
that all the
that.
way there?
Just one of those bad decisions we've taken. Now, if you found that you had...
Please, Mr. Fatuke, let us clarify, because I think this government has been so abused and so bombarded with a lot of negativity. Did they take this decision? Is it this current administration that took this decision you call a bad decision?
I am seeing government as a continuum. Clearly, this government in the past 8 years is taking a baton of wrong decisions that have been made, but they came with a mantra of change. Unfortunately, they took the baton, and rather than face forward, they too decide to run backward. So that is number one. Then number two, I can tell you for free as a practitioner that those refineries that we have right now are sitting on a bed of oil. What does that mean? It means remediation over time needs to have taken place. We have virtually what you would like to describe as a carcass. When you have a carcass, you take a decision and say, hey, wait a minute, this is not working. We need to, rather than see all those numbers that you have.
So rather than spending $1.5 billion refurbishing and rehabilitating,
money, believing,
so basically, you're saying that there is no likelihood that refinery will work. I want you to give it to me in clear terms. Say yes or no.
Yes.
It's very unlikely.
Yes. I know you don't want to hear that. Nigerians don't want to hear that.
Hold on. So we've been saying rehabilitate the refineries.
Listen to me. First of all, let's go to the basics. If you see a dead man, or a dead man, and somebody now tells you that he's going to call Holy Ghost power, Muhammad power, and all that kind of stuff, it depends on you. Do you want to believe? Okay, yeah, I believe, I have faith and all that, and then you want to take your hard-earned money to begin to pump in there, you do it for a reason. One of the reasons is that you want to create jobs for the boys. Well, simple, political. We all know this.
Okay.
The fundamentals goes back, I think that's where you are going. The fundamental goes back that if you have such a situation, you now have to try and take what I call very hard decisions. Nigeria took such similar hard decisions in telecoms. Everybody shouted, but we know where we are at today. Nigeria took such a very hard decision, well, in relative terms, for our airways, okay, for our shipping lines. Such a hard decision needed to have been taken days ago. Now we have the PIA. Thank God. Do we have the will and the capacity to run that PIA the way they should be run? Yes, commercialization has come. NNPC is now a limited liability, so to speak. A lot of monies are going in there, but you have the right caliber of people that will go in there. If you now then decide that whoever is going to be at the cockpit is going to be a carpenter, it's your choice. Either you make the carpenter to learn on the course, or he torpedo you. I am not in any way trying to, I'm only saying exactly as it is. No matter how you keep on flogging and flogging, if you don't get the issue of pricing and get the PIA to work the way it should work, we are going to continue to go down the drain.
So Jonathan, as a businessman, would you go in that route, take the hard decision as to what should be done about these refineries? Because apart from the fact that we created job for the boys, like Mr. Fatuke is saying, that Nigeria is creating job for the boys.
And the girls.
And the girls. Some people are actually there whose families depend on this monthly salary, that they earn, even though they just go to work and they're not really doing anything there because the refineries are not functional. Are you saying set them on the streets, let them go, or absorb them into another part of government and still keep paying them the salary?
Well, I think I have to say here, without missing words, Nigeria is supposed to take that hard decision, because we can't continue flogging a dead horse. For how long can we start maintaining a moribund refineries, pumping in hard-earned dollars into it year in, year out without results? For how long can Nigeria be Father Christmas, trying to be paying salaries for workers that are not being productive? What we have to do, yes, we know they are Nigerians. I would suggest, because I feel for those people in that sector, those that have been employed there. But Nigeria has to take a hard decision by bringing in new set of people who are qualified to be in that sector. Because there is what Mr. Fatuke said. You put in a carpenter in maybe a place that is meant for engineers. It doesn't work that way. We look for the right people, and put them there. Then if we do that, we try as much as possible to ensure that we get new refineries that can give us value to our money. Because as businessman, you can't just keep on wasting your money on a business that is not flourishing. So it's a colossal waste for us to continue engaging in that year in, year out. That is my own personal take on that.
You know, moving on to another very great matter. In the last couple of days, the NBA has, been making the news. As a matter of fact, I anchored one of their side sessions yesterday. It's interesting that lawyers, let me just skip it like that. On the side of one of the conversations that took place at the NBA grounds yesterday, the ICPC chair, Professor Owasonoye, had specific allegations. I like the fact that the man, first of all, was speaking about, if I'm not mistaken, he was speaking about how corruption fuels insecurity and bad governance, the role of lawyers in tackling corrupt practices in Nigeria. The man has accusations of huge, very huge quantum. The man said the judiciary, lawyers act as middlemen, okay? And because they act as middlemen for suspects in most cases of money laundering, they have to defend them and all that. He cited a case under investigation as we speak, where the money involved was traced to the lawyer's account. Now, when it got to the accounts, the looted money has been further transferred to so many accounts in an effort to frustrate the investigation. In the case of the court, the ICPC chairman also said they issue orders stopping anti-corruption agencies from investigating and sometimes even making arrests. The biggest culprits are senior lawyers, and it is a matter of regret that the MDA is not doing anything about it. Now, it wasn't the only one. The chairman of the Civil Society Against Corruption, Olariwaju Suraju, agreed with Owasonoye and said lawyers were clogs in the wheel of justice. He said they are agents of money laundering and they undermine the legal profession itself because they feel that they know all of the nooks and crannies and they can twist, in whatever direction. Interestingly, Human Rights Crusader Chief Mike Ozekome, another senior advocate of Nigeria, also accused the government and politicians of undermining the judiciary. He said judges lack the courage to give fair verdict. Femi Falana, he said judges must be firm and stop the preferential treatment they give to senior advocates of Nigeria. So, you see, there are so many. And then we're talking about a judiciary that is supposed to enforce and help us to entrench our democracy. Aren't you surprised, Jonathan?
Very surprised.
Especially because these people are lawyers.
Very, very surprised. It's a pity that we found ourselves in this kind of position, where those that are supposed to be the hope of the masses, of the common people, are those that are really doing things to, hurt the feelings of the masses. So, like in most cases, you see lawyers, they are learned personnel, as they call themselves, or learned friends. So most of them, what they do, they know the techniques or the methodology of getting those that are criminals out of the woods by trying as much as possible to find the loopholes in the laws, which they call technicalities, to ensure that the criminals are let out of the hooks. It's a pity. And in most cases, it's not only the lawyers, even in some cases, it's still judges. Judges themselves are not making matters, are not helping matters at all. I was privileged to be in a court some time ago. I saw somebody that stole millions of naira, and he was just given 3 months imprisonment and option of fine of about 200,000 naira.
He stole millions.
He stole millions. A Yahoo boy, and he was given that kind of condition. He gladly jumped to that, and here's what I'm trying to say. He just 200,000
as penalty.
As penalty, or go to jail for 6 months. And he saw somebody that misplaced or that took a document which was maybe the government got lost, because that was a classified document. He was given 2 years imprisonment without any option of fine. You start asking yourself, what kind of justice are we getting in Nigeria?
So
is it just Nigeria?
Is it a thieves upgrade?
Yes.
Thieves upgrade. If it involves money,
yes,
there's option of fine.
There's option of fine. They give option of fine. That was exactly. It was very funny. This what I'm saying is what I witnessed in a court. A Yahoo boy that actually scammed people and made millions was just given option of fine of 200,000
for 3 months in jail.
Or 3 months imprisonment. So you see, you start wondering the equity, the justice, and what the lawyers represent, and what even the judges themselves represent. Though I'm not here to malign any body, whether judiciary, whether the lawyers themselves, but the problem of corruption in Nigeria is actually eating deep in all the fabrics of this nation. So it's a pity we find ourselves in this kind of silly position.
Are you surprised?
Well, I'm not surprised, except that I will take a bit of a detour and clearly say to Nigerians that there are lawyers and there are lawyers.
Yes.
Amidst the whole lot, I still believe that we have lawyers of courage, we have lawyers of conviction,
yes,
both male and female.
Yes.
Some of them have taken steps to move in the right direction, but the politics of the country pull them aside. So you don't find situations where you put square pegs again in square holes. I believe the judicial services reforms that I know that has been, and kudos to Lagos State government, kudos to the likes of the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Oshibaju. I mean, a lot had been done to try and put light, in a dark tunnel from the Lagos judiciary, which should ordinarily be seen elsewhere. I am in agreement also that you have so many bad eggs, those that should not ordinarily, in an osmotic fashion, be seen to be at the top. But somebody is taking a decision to put them at the top, taking a political decision to put them at the top. Ozakome made a mention of the fact that, yes, come to think of it, and I think Falaron also told that line, that situations where you find culpability at the throes of justice, at the bar and the bench, the NBA should, I think they are trying their best to do that, should try to begin cleaning of the audience table. What kind of technology do we have in a lot of our judiciaries? Things are still being done in longhand. The monies that has been embezzled, we are talking of trillions and billions that you have put in the hole, say in the refinery. Those are some of the things that we needed to have been able to put in a commonwealth and take a decision that, hey, the judiciary is very, very important. Education is very, very important. Medical, health facilities is very, very important. Security is very, very important. What we are accusing the lawyers of doing is what we saw in the last regime, where somebody took a lot of money, pot of money that was meant for security, and they were disbursing. You read it out there. Professor Owasonoye, thank you very much. You should know, and I respect you so highly that monies have been traced, traceability, monies have been traced to lawyers or judges or whatever it is.
Which is exactly what he said. He said
And
they
from
make
that
the trace-
receptacle, it's now moved down.
you move down the drain and then further frustrating the whole process.
Is it only lawyers?
Definitely not.
I am not a lawyer, I'm an accountant. Yes, I also need to tell you that in that our field, so many things are not moving on
People
right.
don't have the capacity to move things.
Are we
and hide
putting
it.
the right people? For instance, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria is saying, we have multiplicity of institutes. Are we concentrating and looking for right fits? I won't say more than that. Now, are you also telling me that as it is happening in the military, sharing money is happening in the executive? You know what I'm talking about, sharing money. And don't forget, we have an attorney general. We have an attorney general, and I'm sure we all know we have an attorney general. And then at the states,
They also have the same issue.
same. And politicians will move from Abuja to Abakaliki to Aba to Ibadan, shopping for.
Mr. Fatuke.
What we need is an attitudinal change. We want to do two things. Reward, because we all know, in all the professions we know, reward those who are doing well, protect and reward them, and punish openly the bad eggs. By the time we begin to do this, short of politics, and I keep on saying, we run a democracy, and I don't deny we run a democracy. We run a federalism. I deny we run a federalism because I think it's more of a unitary system. When you put the wrong ingredients in the pot, including putting poison in the pot, and you cook it, and you feed it to people, what do you expect? Then, that's it.
Still looking at this issue before I move to our next conversation. It just, occurred to me again that putting the round peg in the right hole, I must celebrate the Anambra State government, the woman who heads the judiciary, the Attorney General of the Anambra State, and the Commissioner for Justice. She's a professor of law. As a matter of fact, she was a lecturer in the Faculty of Law at the Nnamdi Azikiwe University before she was given that appointment. And I met her yesterday, and very sound woman. Of course, you can't be a professor of law, when you're not that sound. And I'm looking at a situation where every position that should be occupied in Nigeria, across the states, across the local governments, should be given to professionals who have the wherewithal and who have the conscience, to deliver to the people. I listened to that woman again yesterday and I said, can every Attorney General be like this? It's just a question. But anyway, let's take a look at our last conversation for today. We're looking at the religious sentiment that seems to have shrouded, our political process and, of course, the transition into the 2023 elections. People are beginning to ask the question, with the kind of heating up of the polity that we're doing, with the conversations around religion, are we really going to have elections in 2023? I mean, somebody really high placed. So ask the question yesterday. His concern was, I don't get it. People are so preoccupied with the religious sentiment. I mean, even in the papers today, on the Muslim ticket, Yakubu Dogara and Babachi Lawal are meeting Abdusalami and IBB on the same matter. We're still looking at a situation where almost everywhere we go to, we're still encumbered by this religious inclination. If Khan is not saying, then these people are saying, then everybody is saying. Maybe I should begin from Jonathan here.
Okay.
The issue of religion and our politics, are they two peas in a pod? Are they even meant to be peas in the same pod?
Nigeria is very unfortunate. Nigerians is very unfortunate what we are seeing in our political space now. It leaves one to wonder what actually is happening. Yes, Nigeria is a religious nation,
Yes.
and most of us belong to various religious bodies,
True.
and we practice different religions. Politics is quite different from religion. That is how it's supposed to be. But most times I keep on asking myself what is happening to us. Like the two religions, the two major religions we have in Nigeria, that is Islam and Christianity. The intent, from what I was made to understand when I was a child, is that the religions are supposed to preach unity. Religion is supposed to bring peace and unify the people. But it is an aberration what we are seeing now, as if religion is actually the division itself that is tearing Nigeria apart. And one keeps wondering what is happening. And if you look at these two core religions, they preach about love. And you ask yourself, what is the place of love in this religion? I'm a Christian, for example. If I love my Muslim brother, I think I should accept his religion. I should accept his way of worship, his way of life. As I am a Christian, same goes to my Islam or Islamic or the Muslim brother who is also practicing Islam, at least to accept my religion and accept me the way I am. But what we see in Nigeria is gradually navigating towards a religious bigotry, what I call religious bigotry, a situation
Maybe we
where
should even put it in our constitution.
yes, where we are intolerant, where we are unreasonable with other people's religion. We don't even want to hear about other people's religion. When you hear a particular religion, you give it name. It has been so, and it's actually heating up the polity. And most of the politicians, they are propagandists. They are now cashing in this, trying to, outwit one another by whipping up, religious sentiment as a weapon of trying to outwit their opponents by presenting religion as a factor. While in essence, religion is not supposed to divide us. So what am I trying to say in a nutshell is, religion, the way it's being practiced in Nigeria, the way we take it, is not how it's supposed to be practiced in other developed climes. If you go to US, we have people that belong to different religions. You go to other places, you find same. But in Nigeria, we keep on saying we are religious, yet we don't have, love. We don't tolerate other people's faith. And that is not how it's supposed to be. We meddle it up, we mix it up with the politics, thereby heating up the polity. It's very unfortunate.
And then you have religious organizations coming together and holding meetings. For example, the Dogara are meeting with Babache Lawal and going to see IBB under the guise of IBB's birthday. It's basically to discuss the Muslim
Yes, I want to say
identity.
something there. These people are just fighting for their pockets. Dogara that you are talking about and those guys, because they believe they felt aggrieved that they were supposed to be considered. Maybe
As
for one of
Northern
those
Christians.
yes, as Christians, but they couldn't get that. So Nigerians, I believe we have grown above all these petty sentiments, whereby one will sell a dummy to us, we all fall for it. It's very unfortunate. I am appealing to Nigerians, let us try as much as possible to whittle down this issue of religion in our politics, because if we don't, it will actually tear this country apart.
Do we consider, my question to Mr. Fatuke is, do we consider the religion of our appointees when we are going to appoint them? For example, the entire ministers, of President Muhammadu Buhari, or maybe that of Goodluck Jonathan, was the religion considered when they were choosing them, or was it just on the basis of this person is from this state, he has this capacity, this person is from this state? Because I think we usually just choose people per state. It's always be a quota.
I think so. On paper, yes. I like to believe. But de facto, especially in the last 8 years, unfortunately, has left a lot to be desired. In other words, I am supposed to respect you as a woman.
Yeah.
And there are people of certain persuasions who just says women should belong somewhere else. I don't think it's right. Okay. And I also don't think that if a woman can prove her mettle, if she can sit in class with me and beat me hollow in exams, I should then come back and say I don't believe, that is bigotry, like Jonathan has said. For me, all I know is that I go to the local market in my environment. I go to buy A, B, C, D. I don't look at a label whether it's a Christian, it's a Muslim, or and we always forget traditional religion. Is he or she neat enough to be fair? Is he or she practicing what the faiths have always told us, which Jonathan talked about love? You first before me. Is he or she capable of even helping me to make my right choices? If I am going to go into a plane or I'm going to go into a train, I buy my ticket, I go in there. I'm not aware that it's
the person beside you is a Muslim,
or
one is a Christian, or is a babalawo
that have been trained to be able to take me to my destination.
Yeah.
Or I go,
you're not even concerned about the religion of your pilot.
And I take a patient to the emergency. Oh, please help. I don't first of all ask whether it's a Muslim or a Christian.
You don't even ask if it's a man or a woman.
And then
you're concerned about the health and life.
There are two things I've said now. You need to be sensitive, no doubt about that. So I am in your presence in a public space. I need to be sensitive to the fact that I can't just holler you anyhow. That is where emotional intelligence and decency comes in. Say what you have to say. If I disagree with you, I'll tell you reasons why I disagree with you, expecting, of course, that you're not going to say you are a woman leader and all that. Listen to what I have to say, and then we can get into a consensus. That is how things go. And if I see that I am not able to relate with you on that score, I can always move away because I have other areas. Back to the politics, which Jonathan clearly said is now being politicized for what comes to me into my pocket and what have you. If a particular party has decided for whatever reason that they want to go along with Muslim ticket, I don't need to fret. I have other parties I can go and choose from. So what is this? And then I get Murik and I get Khan and they begin to now talk down on one another. You have to wear hijab. You don't have to wear hijab. Because I know that you don't have uniformity where you have these kind of things that happen. I think I need to let Nigerians know, please go read what has happened to some of the civilizations that we have of old. Nigeria is going downhill with the way and manner we are going down. My expectation, if I have continually, benefited Jonathan, for whatever reason, I leave you. Benefit Jonathan, I leave you. Somebody brings that to my attention. Do you know there's something I can do? I can say to myself, hey, Jonathan is my son. You are my daughter. I've been benefiting him. You know what's going to happen? If an opportunity is going to now avail itself to send somebody that's going to give a family a scholarship. Jonathan, I know you are brilliant. I know you've done it, but we've got the whole hog. But we are going to give that to our daughter. Let her have that opportunity. In other words, if we have a Muslim ticket, for instance, what is that particular party thinking about? Say, who is going to be the Senate president? Who is going to be the House of Reps president? How can we then begin to balance it? Or is it going to be winner take all? We need thinkers. We need people
we should even be negotiating right now.
Who will consider the fact that when there was an uproar in Jos and Christians were being persecuted, a Muslim got up and put a heaven around 7 Christians. Back in the Igboho area, when people from some other faiths were being persecuted, you know what they did? They say, rather than see you being slaughtered, I will stand up and keep you so that it's been done. So it's just an attitude thing. When that attitude comes, don't let us bring it into the national discourse. You will now be abusing and abusing one another just on score of religion. What's happened to a daughter that I know and a son that I know in the UK? One is a Christian, one is a Muslim. They are doing fantastically well, to put it in the language of politicians. And they are about getting married. They are getting back home, and people are talking about you can't be a Muslim, you can't be a Christian. You know what this Generation Z are now saying? Just leave these old people. They don't know what they are saying.
Without their parents. All right, as we round off this conversation, something actually occurred in Lagos here at Agege, where a church were having a vigil, and then Oro worshippers, it was their night. And they usually say nobody should come out on that day. Fortunately, this church wanted to have a vigil on that day. They were actually having the vigil. And the Oro worshippers entered the place and said, stop your vigil. It is our day. It's our night. It's one of those rare days that we call for this. And the church said, we're not outside. We're within our premises. We're doing our. And they said, no, but it's our night. You're not meant to. And at the end of the day, they started, became rowdy, and one of the Oro worshippers was killed by some of the church members. So yes, a pastor and it's even the female pastor, and 9 of their members have been arrested by the police now because they killed an Oro worshipper, simply because people do not want to change their church agenda on the day of Oro. Who asked their church members to come out when Oro worshippers announce and say we want to do Oro? Thank you very much, Jonathan.
Yes.
For being here with us this morning. I need to round off this conversation. Mr. Kufatuke, always a pleasure having you here.
Thank you very much. Between the Oro and the church members, I have my own. By the time I put out, we need law, order, etiquette. The Oro people,
we need to go.
Let's know where our boundaries lie, and we should respect culture. And there's no
and
doubt
respect
about that.
ourselves.
And respect ourselves.
You respect for one another.
And
I'll take a
that's
break. I have a commercial something coming up for you on the Bumper Breakfast as we round off the show. I'll be back shortly.